Hello 7th graders, this is Mrs. Trombley with lesson 11.1 on classifying angles. If you're following along in your book, we're on pages 466 through 467. You need a pencil and your note sheet in front of you. Let's get moving. The first thing you need to know is how to classify angles. So I'm sure you've heard a lot of this before, but I'll refresh your memories. A right angle, it's just a 90-degree angle. You can tell because they'll have a little box there showing it's 90 degrees. A straight angle, it's a straight line. I know that's a tough one to remember, right? Straight angle, straight line, tricky, I know, but that's 180 degrees. An acute angle is an angle that measures less than 90 degrees, so it's little, it's cute. That's how I remember acute. An obtuse angle, that measures greater than 90 and less than 180, because if it did measure 180, then it would be a straight angle. All right. So the first type of angles we're going to look at are called complementary angles. Two angles are complementary if they're sum. That means when you add them together, you get a measure of 90 degrees. So in looking at this first pair of angles, we have a 40-degree angle and a 50-degree angle. This is an example of a complementary set of angles because 40 plus 50 is equal to 90. The next one, I have 27 degrees and 63 degrees, and are these complementary? Well, when you take 27 plus 63, you get 90. So yes, these are both complementary. Another way to remember it, complementary angles they're all going to be acute because their sum is 90. So they complement each other and how acute they are. That's a little trick to remember it. I know. Aw. All right. Supplementary angles. They are supplementary if their sum is 180 degrees. So in the two examples we have here, we have 40 degrees and 140 and want to know, are these supplementary? Well, 40 plus 140, that's equal to 180. So yes, these are supplementary. The next set, I have 60 degrees and 120 degrees. 60 plus 120, yes, 180 degrees. So here are three examples here. Let's see if we can apply what we just learned. Here's the question. Are they complementary, supplementary, or neither? So the first pair of angles is 26 degrees and 64 degrees. And I'm going to tell you, don't just look at them and think, oh, they look like they're 90. You actually need to add them up to make sure. So if we take 26 plus 64, go ahead and do that. What do you got? What do you got? Hopefully you got 90. So because their sum is 90 degrees, that means these are complementary. Complementary. There we go. Letter B, I have 44 degrees and 136 degrees. So to figure out what they are, it has to do with their sum, so I'm going to add them up. 44 plus 136. Add it up, add it up, add it up. What do you get? 180 degrees. And remember, if two angles add up to 180, that means they are supplementary. Last example here, I have 70 degrees and 19 degrees. When we take 70 plus 19, we get 89. And that's not 90, and that's not 180, so that's going to be a neither. All right, I know you think you're finished because we're done with the front side, but we're not. Turn it over. All right, another kind of angle, vertical angles. Two angles are vertical angles if they're opposites. They're just across from one another. And vertical angles are congruent. Congruent means they are the same. So, if you look at this diagram here, we have A, B, C, and D. A and C are vertical angles because they are across from one another. And B and D are also vertical angles because they are across from one another. There's also something called adjacent. You may have heard that in the past. It's coming back. Adjacent angles, they're just angles that are right next to one another. So A and B are adjacent because they're next door to one another. You could say C and D were adjacent, B and C are adjacent, and A and D. So vertical means across, adjacent means next to. Maybe you want to write the words next to. That'd be a good idea. All right, so basically why vertical angles are important, they can help you find missing measures. When you get to geometry, you will love me for this. All right, so here we have 70 degrees, and across from that we have x degrees, and your job, it's always to find x. Mathematicians are obsessed with their x's. I know, it's crazy. So 70 is right across from x. That means that they are congruent, which means they are the same. So x is equal to 70 degrees. Here, I have 50 degrees and I have x. Now you have to think back to the front page. These angles right here, here's the box. That means that these should add up to 90 degrees. So I know that 50 plus x should give me 90. Does this look familiar? I hope so. I need to get x alone. So I'm going to add a negative 50, or some of you are subtracting 50. It's the same thing. And x is equal to 90 plus negative 50 is 40 degrees. And 50 degrees plus 40 degrees does give me 90, so I know that we're right. Let's try a few more. Example C, I have 85 degrees and I have x degrees. And I'm hoping you notice that this is a straight line across here. Remember that angles that form that straight line add up to 180. So that means that 85 plus x should equal 180. Again, I need to get x alone. So I'm going to add a negative 85, or again, if you're subtracting 85, that is totally fine by me. Go right ahead. And you get x equals 95 degrees. And to check it out, I would take 85 plus 95 and make sure you get 180. And you do. All right, letter D. I'm looking for x degrees, and oh no, there are no degrees listed. But wait, there's that little box. What does that little box mean again? I know, skip it. Doesn't tell us. Doesn't say what it is, Mrs. Trombley. The little box means it's 90 degrees. And x is across from the 90 degrees. That means it's the same. So x is 90 degrees. I know you're thinking that's way too easy. It is. It's that easy. All right, letter E. The grand finale. There's more than just an x, but you know how to solve two steps, and I know you can do this. So these are vertical angles. They're right across from one another. So if this is 83 degrees, that means this whole amount should be 83 degrees. So this means that 2x plus 1 equals 83. Now are you seeing why Skill Packet 23 had two steps on it? Yes, it's all coming back, I'm sure. So in a two-step, the very first thing to do is to isolate the variable term, the term with the letter. So we want this 1 to go away. To get rid of this positive 1, I'm going to add a negative 1. I'm left with 2x on this side and 82 on this side. And remember, to undo multiplication, we divide. So we'll divide by the coefficient, the number in front of the x, and x equals 41 degrees. If you want to make sure you're right, this should equal that. Plug a 41 in there. Does 2 times 41 plus 1 give you 83? Yes, it does. You are done for the day.